Ever since the dawn of time, man has required protection from the rain. And what better way to protect your paper by laminating it? Dun, dun, dun. Yes, we have a Laminator here and it's not working. So I'm going to plug it in. Dead. I'm going to see if it's the obvious fuse. See if someone popped it. You never know, do you? Might have happened, might not. 3 whole amps. Fuse is good. I called that, didn't I? Hardly ever the fuse. So this are kind of handy little contraptions, and you'll remember them from back in the day when you used to have your video Blockbuster video membership type cards. And it has some screws. In fact, it looks like someone's been in here before. It might well have been me. So someone broke it. It could have been me. So try to remember what a laminator does. I don't think it uses heat, but I can't remember. You definitely have adhesive pads, but I kind of feel maybe it heated up. It says it was 1.5 amps, so probably not. Maybe it just sucked in the old paper. Go on, make some noise, why don't you? Now, those of you regulars to the channel will be very excited because there's a very exclusive prize coming. And I don't know, I can't remember actually. Yes, I revealed it in the stream what kind of competition it would be and if it was going to be a general prize or only open to Patreon patrons. But if you're in the Discord, ping me and I'll finally make up my mind or decide what I was going to do. Ooh. Let's pretend. I think there is heat because there's a thermo doofer, technical name. And anything to do with heat, you normally get, when you see this sort of weird waxy braid stuff, normally to do with heaty stuff. So there's the switch, that's the on-off. It's quite interesting actually. Look, it's kind of a rack. And I can hear the switcher. When that switch is a clicking, don't play with my dickens. Let's get that on there. Pop out the whole mechanism, shall we? And I'll probably use the opportunity to clean this area out a little bit so I don't electrify myself too badly. I'm in over my head. Do 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 do. Titan A, great movie. Right, got me wires. I'm gonna plug it in gingerly. Bzz. This is hot. When you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. And I'm very hot. I'm just gonna do some gentle probing without touching anything. So that's where that join is there. 200 and whatever voltages. Yes, we're seeing the voltages where we expect to see them. And on the other side of that switch, not seeing anything in that position. And now I think this should be on. Yes. Okay. Let's unplug the power now. So it does look like we are getting signal, I say signal, conductivity through that switch, and I can check it again. Show you the continuity tester. It's a bit more fiddly, but we'll get in there. Okay, switch is working. So the switch is working, but there's no LED coming on. And it's interesting because the LED, power and ready, go to that little PCB in there that just they've got nothing to do with that main power. So the main power is coming here on that switch, which we can see is operate from this and does work, and everything else, all the indicators, come from here. Interesting enough, obviously they're LEDs and whatnot, and there's probably some simple rectification. So it's likely that perhaps the LEDs themselves are kind of in series or something with like the motor. But the motor is a sort of synchro motor. We can see it's a standard synchro, and it's pretty much as you expect. It's got an interesting cam thing here, and I think this is to kick out the gear, like a clutch almost. When it kicks it out, it'll stop moving the wheels. So there's probably an anti-jam mechanism there. And this is definitely a temperature doofer. So let's check that. That's going to be my next next port of call, sir. And there. Oh, it looks like it's good. So now we've got the heating mechanism. You can see the heaters in here. So imagine that it applies both heat and pressure, like the Earth's core. Ooh. Such a random design. So the synchro motor is mains powered, and it is also going to that little PCB. So I guess we're just going to have to dig deeper into this. And I had the option to go and pay £15 and get another one. And this is like for work. It's like needed for work. And you're like, no, I'm going to waste all my time trying to fix it. Because it's so much more important for me to do that. And put it on a video on YouTube. So we have basically two diodes. So it's kind of half wave rectified, I guess. And let's have a look at the size of those resistors. Smacking it down. They're an 100k. So I wonder if that's just plain old mains straight onto those. So I'm just checking out the motor wires basically. Let's see, they've got these weird, very weird furry. So it's a whole mess of a circuit here. I know I'm going to zoom out. You can't quite fathom it, but let's see. It goes to the switch. Then one switch goes to this splice, which goes to the blue LED, which is the probably the power on LED. I'm going to have to draw it out, aren't I? Bollocks. And I have a nasty feeling in here is a temperature cutout. It's a thermal. There we go, a thermal fuse. The thermal fuse of death. F1 on our diagram here. That's what's going to be dead in this bloody thing. It's got too hot, innit? Nothing, because the thermal fuse is gone. So I could try to obtain another thermal fuse, or just bypass it for fun, for shits and giggles. Shall we bypass it for fun? Yes, let's do that. I don't think I'm going to bother getting another thermal fuse. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I might get another thermal fuse. So we'll tape our micro switch down. So we've got power. More power. More power. So this will be all kind of on. This will be hot when we plug it in. Make sure we're not messing around with our fingers too much. And we've got options for our thermal fuse bypass. So we're either, I think we'll just try to solder something across it. Should work just fine and dandy. So you can see that there. The edge of your screen. You're on the edge of your screen. The reason thermal fuses, by the way, are not soldered is because they're kind of made of solder inside. So you can imagine something like a really low melting point metal, and that's what you got in there. So I'm just having a little look around here, little look, something. I've made an invention here. We don't need that anymore. Off. Just going to bypass the fuse. So don't Don't really do this at home, because if you're doing it at home, I know you're not experimenting, you're doing it because that's going to be your fix. That's not a fix, I can assure you. It's not a fix. Well, it's sort of a fix, not a good fix. And what'll be fun, I'm just going to tear off a little wee bit of paper here, so we can try feeding it into our laminator if it starts running. Oh, it is running. The motor is spinning, but it's not engaged because of that whole weird thing. So, oh, it's warm. It is warm already as well. Crikey. Oh, I can hear it all running too. Watch what you're touching. There you go. So you can probably just about see that gear moving. If I put way more pressure than you think you should need. The deadly heated roller of pain and fire is running. The LEDs are on. The red LED is on and the green isn't. I'm just wondering now, this is probably potentially the thing that makes the LED come on. It might be a temperature sensor, so we'll let it run a little bit and I'll see if that green LED comes on. But I can tell you, this thing is insanely hot. I mean, I didn't realise they got that hot, frankly. I touched it with the corner of my finger and it really burnt me. I'm almost just wondering, remember there's mains on that. It's like bar fire. If I get this out, I expect it to be crisp. It is crisp, you know. I can smell burning. Whew. It's that kind of level of heat off this thing. For something that's quite cheaply made as well. I'm almost tempted to fix it. I just can't think of a use case right now that I would want to jury rig this. About the same amount of time, you see, it takes me to order a new one, probably more time. I can find one of those thermal fuses for probably like 20p. But I'm not sure I trust this general crappiness. But still, it seems too good to throw away, doesn't it? That is how hot it is. This is really thick insulating tape. You can see, look, how much effort it takes to snap it. But if I touch it on here, boom. That is proper hot. Proper hot indeed. Okay, I've decided that I'm not going to fix this. I know it seems to go against my fixing ethics, but I've decided it's probably just a little bit too far gone, shall we say. Far gone for my comfort. It's probably a 10+ year-old unit. It's easily replaced for next to nothing. I'm going to have to just take the punt and dismantle it. I think it's got some dismantleable components though that are quite fun. Especially this whole mechanism actually. I mean the synchro that moves something actually. I'm going to put that back in for a second to have a look. The fact that you can use this whole roller mechanism for sucking something through a slot could be quite a lot of fun if you imagine something that fetches in, like you put an envelope in and it's like pulling it through a bit like a shredder might. That's good, of course. So let's just take... You might take it apart though just to see what the heating element is, because that's so weird, isn't it? It just doesn't seem like anything. Ah, there's the rollers. They've got a little grease bearing. Woohoo! So cute. Okay, let's just do this. We're gonna go in. We're going in. So just swap off the cable ties. We don't need those. So hot still. It's just toasty. That's the only way to describe this. Like a bowl of crunchy nut cornflakes. It's toasty, toasty, very, very toasty. It's very toasty. Wasn't that the guy out of EastEnders, wasn't it? Grant and Phil. Phil Mitchell. Grant Mitchell. One of them. What was that? Wow. That one though is really lame in EastEnders. Ian Beale. Sad Ian Beale. What a bloody character. What is he like? So let's fetch these out. I'm just going to cut the wires off this because as close as I can to the crimp. Right, so there's your motor. So that's a sync remote. You can see you won't be able to spin that by hand. It's really geared, but if you put the appropriate mains voltage, it'll just spin nice and slowly, but with loads of torque. Always handy to have those. Maybe you might want to make a rotating snowman ornament next year. So this thing looks like it's screwed in from the other side, so we'll get to that momentarily. And that's the old ends of the two rods there. Must be very much like something that I believe would probably exist in a laser printer. You know, where you've got like a fuser unit? It could be based on the same technologies, although I think a fuser unit actually uses a light bulb. Last time I had a look in one, which was quite a while ago, I have to admit. Let's peel that boy. That's hot still. Yeah, still bloody hot. Could let that cool down. But I'm not gonna. Got ya. Now I'm gonna eat ya. So let's get that heating wire off. So cutely enough, if you wanted a little heater, I mean, you'd have to run them in series. But there's a nice mechanism for a heater. Oh my gosh, look, it's so amazing. It's a proper, this is that weird asbestos-y type material. And there's your heating element in there. Look, just a little bit of wire. I suspect if we hook that up, we could overdrive that. I bet it would glow red hot. That's more of an electro boom thing though, isn't it? And there's your rollers, your rubbery, hot rubbery rollers. So it's weird, isn't it? You think the conductivity of the they're hot. They don't seem like they actually rub particularly close to those heating elements, which is interesting. I mean, let's try this one while we can. Yeah, I think it's just sitting there in the general heated tube, and that's conducting enough heat to those. Those are, they're lovely, lovely and warm. I think they're a hollow tube. Yeah, 2 hollow tubes. They're very light. Bit like those wooden things at school when you had music. And yeah, we've got another one of those, of course. And this is the weird thing, isn't it? This is the weird thing. We're going to try to figure out what it is. So let's pop the other heating element out. Oh, there you go. 115 volts, 165 watts. And you had 2 of those. 230 volts. It's not bad, is it? It's over 300 watts of heating. That would make a really nice heater for your back office board in the winter, wouldn't it, underneath there? Might cause a little bit of a fire though. Metal lump is still bloody hot. Not only hot, sticky, where I stuck my insulating tape on it. My fingers are now sticking to the incredibly hot and spicy glue. Pop that out. Oh, that was weird, isn't it? It had some sort of cap with a bit of goop in it. But there is a marking. So it does seem to be something like a switch. Now that would be 115 volts. This one goes off. And just to show you the fuse, so the fuse, it's a 10 amp fuse, and it would go off at 216 volts. Sorry, or 216 Celsius. if you're using the right units. Depends if you're imperial or not, I suppose. Why isn't it going off at my 200 volts? That's because it's temperature, you muppet. So then if we look here, I suspect it was something to do with that red LED. Goes to the red LED side. Interesting. But we got conductivity through that, which is weird. So Maybe it breaks conductivity when it gets hot enough. We probably could test this hypothesis, can't we? Let's test our hypothesis like science, people. Watch the meter. You might not be able to hear the beep. Okay, so we're not getting anything through there now. Oh, there we go. You can hear it actually ticks. It makes a little ticking sound. Oh, shit. There you go. Do you hear that? It went tick. So that's cool. That's quite fun, isn't it? As a nice little temperature operated switch if you need some specifically at 115 degrees C. So definitely keep that. That's a good salvageable part. And what I'm going to do is probably just bin all the rest and chuck it all in the recycling, as you do. But we still have this mains wire and we still have this motor, so I think it's a good opportunity. Let's hook these up, shall we? For fun. We are unplugged, otherwise this would be more spectacular than I would want. We'll keep the old micro switch too. Good lad. Good lad. So I can show you what a synchro does, so now you know, then you'll never have to do it. Now if you've got a plumbing system in your house, which most people do, you will notice that if you've got valves for your radiators, they often use these. I'm just having a little root around for something. There we go. Found what I was looking for. And the reason you've got these in your valves is that it moves around a kind of a little shuttle valve back and forth. And yeah, they just sort of synchro and they just go, just push against a spring or something. It's got a lot of fur on here. It's got to like trim this furry area down. That's one. So what do you think? Should I fix this today? Did I cop out and put my ethics to rest and just not bother? What kind of a disgusting human am I? Solder. Come on. Good. That was righteous. Some righteous solder in there. I need to get the live and the neutral. Mains. Unplugged. I'd like to reiterate that it's unplugged. Nice. Nicely done. Nicely done, sir. I shall just congratulate myself a little bit more often on a job well done. It's not like those other YouTube channels. People trying not to make a mess. So I'm going to use this block as a kind of insulator to keep those things apart. Like they didn't even not even bother trying to do, but fine, okay. And let's get this nicely there in the middle. We'll plug it in. Hooray! Wasn't it everything you hoped? Why is it moving around? Oh, it's because it's buzzing. It's vibrating. Look at that. Torquey. You can test the torque somewhat gingerly. Don't touch the mains. It's like you're not even there. It's like you're not even there. So if you do want something with proper torquey beans, that's what you want. Good. Right. Well, I think we've explored as much of the laminator of doom as we're ever going to do. I think apart from maybe doing this to rotate something in the future, I mean, it could be quite good for putting in the base of something and then having like an ornament that spins around, but it's quite fast really. I mean, I don't know how many RPM it is. Very carefully. It says 5/6 revs per minute. So it's not very speedy, and it's quite warm. I can feel it. It's actually putting out some heat, so you want to be careful what you mount it in. Maybe, just maybe, there's a use. Uses down below in the comments. And as ever, everybody, thank you for watching.